all, and welcome back to our channel. So, our topic for today is something that God has really been teaching me lately. I'm currently in Airdrie. I'm staying with my family here. My aunt asked me if I could stay with them for a few days, weeks. It's my third week now here. And she's asked me for an indefinite amount of time to stay with them for a bit because she started going back to work again and they couldn't find anyone to take care of the babies. And being with kids most of my days, by the way, they started daycare today, so the house feels so empty. I just miss them so much, oh Lord. But I'm so thankful to have this time on my own. Oh Lord, thank you. What was I saying? God has been teaching me a lot. One of the reasons that I'm so excited to become a mom, to become a parent, and I'm not sure if this is if this is the correct reason, but I always hear pastors use their experiences with their kids to illustrate their point whenever they're preaching something. And sometimes it's the cutest thing. It's just very sweet how God is teaching them about His fatherly love and about us being His children. And it's all cute and lovey. But sometimes, I could just imagine their children being like, Dad, or like, Mom, why did you share that? That's so embarrassing. But it's just the cutest thing ever. I just love how God can use anything and everything to just teach us. And for the past 3 weeks that I've been with these kids, most hours of my days, oh Lord, has God been talking to me about childlikeness, because Jesus I've said so many times that the kingdom belongs to the children. And so welcome to Childlike, another vlog / Bible study with me video. I was excited to become a mom for the sermon examples, and I've got a bunch of them today. It's always so bittersweet seeing that home is 2 hours away. There's a widget on my phone that always says it, and I don't know why I haven't deleted that yet, because it's just getting to me. It's just really always getting to me. But I also think that childlikeness and being childlike can be used as an excuse to, make such rash decisions, but maybe that's not childlikeness is all about it. In Matthew 18:3, and this is the reason why we're doing this Bible study in the first place, is because Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." When we think of children, sometimes we think, oh, they're playful and they're carefree, they don't worry about anything, and children are cute and all that. But I was thinking, what if our definition of children and being a child is different from what Jesus meant when He preached this sermon and when He used children as illustration, especially back in those days? So lately, I've been reading the Chronicles of Narnia. Just hopping on that childlike train. We always read books whenever we're here. Now, when I think about God delighting in us, I feel like I have a different context for it. I've been with them and I just really love them so much. Like sometimes I would just look at them and I would want to cry because there's just so much love in me. I feel like I'm exploding. I'm like, Lord, these aren't even my children, and this is already how I feel. How much more does He feel about us, and we're His children? Also, I realized yes, I'm their authority and I want them to respect me and follow whatever I'm saying, because what I'm saying is for their good. But also, I don't just want them to fear me and to revere me and then that's it. I also want to hang out with them and I want to be friends with them, and I want their trust, and I want to laugh with them and speak to them about anything and everything under the sun. That's how God is with us as well. That yes, we gotta fear Him. That's where we get wisdom. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. But also, Christ said, "I no longer call you servants, but I call you friends." Like He wants to be friends with us. Also, when I said that I wanted to use my experiences with the kids for my sermon and video illustrations, God has just been speaking to me through the words that I'm telling the kids. Because, for example, the other day they had this golf club toy that they're using, but then instead of using it for golf, the younger one used it to hit koa, playfully at first, and then it just started hurting Koa. And then I told him, if you're just gonna use it to hurt your brother, I can't let you have it. And when I said that, I felt like God's just like, girl, that's why I don't let you have some things. It's just so funny. And then when we were first going to the park, instead of just like playing right outside the house, Koa, the older one, was trying to go ahead of us. And I told him, like, if you want to go far, you have to hold my hand. You have to stay near me. And when I said that, I'm like, Lord, okay, I'm gonna stay near you. Also, like, how humbling is it to ask for forgiveness from a 6-year-old? Like, literally, you're saying sorry to a 6-year-old and really meaning it and really feeling bad about it. Like wow, it really did something to my pride, y'all. Anyone familiar with Peppa Pig? I have my stickered water bottle now. Do you guys like my props today? I'm trying to be a little bit extra. I put that there for a reason. So, becoming like children. What did he mean by that? Did he mean that we gotta play Legos all day long or eat cookies whenever we wanted or dance Fortnite? I hope not. Probably, most likely not. When we think of children, we think of the word innocent and simple and being in wonder. And as beautiful as all of that is, the past few weeks I've been really thinking about it and I've been reading all about it. The way that we think about children now is so different from the way that they regarded children back then, because back then children were of little importance. Do you remember when people wanted to hand their babies to Jesus because they want Jesus to bless them, and then the disciples didn't think that the children were important enough to stop Jesus to bless them, and then they shooed them away? But Jesus said, let them come to me, don't hinder them, because to them belongs the kingdom of heaven. Most of the miracles of Jesus included children, and during Jesus' time, the lowliest in the society were children, were women, the sick and the lame and the blind. When Jesus talked about becoming like children, he wasn't talking about innocence or anything, because we're not to become like children in a sense that they don't take anything seriously, or in a sense that they're innocent, or that they have simple faith, that they just believe whatever is told them. Jesus wanted us to become like children in a sense that what they are utterly dependent. They can't do anything for themselves. They can't provide anything for themselves. Like, the main reason that I am here in Airdrie with my aunt in the first place is because my cousins can't do anything for themselves. They can't feed themselves. They can't protect themselves. They can't take care of themselves. In the first beatitude, what did Jesus say? Blessed are the poor, or poor in spirit in other translations, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. He also said of the children that the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. And so children were poor in spirit in the sense that they knew that they needed someone, that they can't do it on their own. Let me get a little bit vulnerable here. Being childlike is really something that I've really wrestled with God with. I wrestle about a lot of things with God. I did a Bible study on John 4, all about how I want to grow up. I'm the eldest of 3 children, but sometimes I feel like the youngest, especially because I'm the most needy of my parents. And then there was one night I was crying to God about it, like, Lord, I want to grow up, I want to learn things, and I hate that I'm needy. I hate that I'm not as capable as I would like to be. Sometimes I hate that I need my mom so much when other people my age are not so needy of their parents anymore. And then when I said that, it was like God told me, but I need you to be needy. I need you to be childlike. I created a playlist for my stay here, and it's called Airdrie. One of the songs there that I put there is Sparrows by Corey Asbury, because being here, God has just really tested how dependent I am. It's just so weird seeing my life in boxes, realizing that I don't need so much, but at the same time realizing that if I needed anything, that I can ask. And my younger cousin, he calls me Mickey. It's the cutest thing ever. It's just the cutest thing whenever he says, Mickey, help. And I want to help him. Like, my heart is inclined to help him, and it's my pleasure. It's not like a burden to me, but it gives me more joy to be able to help him. And God just made me realize that that is also me when I'm asking help from him. He delights in helping us because he gets to be the God that he is. And earlier, we were sending them to daycare for the first time. I love how he waits for me at the door because he can't open the door for himself. And that has always been my prayer, that God, I can't open doors for myself, so I'm gonna be at the door, I'm gonna knock, and I'm gonna do all of the things, but it's going to be you who's going to open the door for me. And then he has a tablet, and when the internet cuts off, he just brings it to me and he says, "It's not working." Whenever he does that, it's reminding me that when something is not working, I just gotta bring it to him. Like, Lord, this is not working. I need you to help me here. Instead of like trying to like figure it out myself. Another thing about becoming like children is that children can't defend themselves. They don't have the power to defend themselves. And I'm gonna use my little younger cousin to as an illustration again. Lord, my preaching dreams are coming true. I'm using children. My younger cousin, Kai, whenever Koa and his older brother doesn't want to play with him, or whenever they're fighting, what does he do? He runs to me or he runs to his mom. He doesn't try to fight it himself because he knows that he's no match for his older brother, and so he just cries and he just comes to us and he just surrenders it to us. I used to be so frustrated about how I cry literally about every single thing, but seeing my cousin, he just like cries when something is wrong or he's frustrated about something, and he tells his mom about it or he tells me about it, and I deal with it for him. Like, that's the kind of life that I want. Like, I'm not preaching a responsibility here, but just like, dependence. The other day, I was reading from my Bible reading plan, ta-da, and I am on 2 Chronicles chapter 13. It says here, Judah turned and discovered that the battle was in front of them and behind them, and they cried out to the Lord. They cried out to the Lord because they realized how helpless and how defenseless they are, because the battle was behind them and in front of them. Then the priests blew the trumpets, and the men of Judah raised the battle cry. What happened when they did that? It said, God handed Jeroboam over to Judah. Listen to this. The Judahites succeeded because they depended on the Lord. Literally all they did was they cried out to the Lord. And these are warriors, these are valiant men, these are like men with weapons. But when they realized how defenseless they were, they just humbled themselves and they cried out to the Lord. And I was joking about how that's just going to be my strategy from here on, just raising a battle cry. God wants us to become like children in the sense that we are dependent on him, not because he wants weaklings or anything. Like, God is building his army, right? God wants us to be like soldiers. God wants us to have the endurance and the capacity to fight his battle, and we take the heaven by force, and he says that. But he wants us to receive him like children in the sense that we are dependent upon him for every single thing. Another example here, and it's just on the next page. It says here, then Asa cried out to the Lord his God. What does the next verse says? It says, so the Lord routed the Cushites before Asa and before Judah, and the Cushites fled. And the Cushites around that time, they were 3 times larger than the army of Asa. Literally 3 times, and they fled. And it says the Cushites fell until they had no survivors. They had no survivors. What? And lastly, children need correction. This is something that God has really like changed the way that I see it, because I've always known that he disciplines us and he corrects us when we're wrong. But I realized that lately, most of my prayers are like, God, correct me, Lord, correct me, Lord, correct me. And I didn't know that it was stemming up from a belief that God only loves me when I'm correct, that God only loves me when I'm doing all the things correctly. And there is nothing wrong with praying, Lord, correct me, because God loves it when we come to him for correction, especially when we accept our own mistakes and our own shortcomings, when we humble ourselves like that. But But how do we think about it? My cousins, they get messy. They have chocolate all over their faces. Sometimes they're stinky, even in the morning, and they just woke up. And the first thing that I want to do is still what? I still want to kiss them. Yes, I still love them when they're messy. Yes, I still love them when they have dirt and mud all over their face. And when we get to the park and they're very dusty because they played with the rocks and all, I still carry them home. That doesn't like repulse me or anything. I don't clean them up so I can love them after, because even when in their messy state, I love them. And God just made me realize that that is also the way that He is with us too, that He doesn't correct us so that He can love us after. He doesn't correct us because because He can't love us on our messy state. But He corrects us because He loves us even when we're messy. Like, yo, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. I realized that His love is the reason why He corrects us and not the product of it. But I wanted to clear that up a bit, because one of the things that my aunt has been teaching me about raising children, learning to be a mom. One of the things that my aunt has been teaching me when it comes to raising children is learning to be tough with them and learning to be firm with them, because kids just want to get it the way that they want it, and they just want to have their way all of the time, and having their way is not the most beneficial for them. Cheeks, you want smoothie? Cheeks. Oreo? You already had Oreo earlier. Just like us having a way is not the most beneficial for us all of the time. She always reminds me that I have to be firm with them and I have to learn tough love. I still have yet to learn it. They're the cutest thing. Like, how can you be angry with them, right? But that's the same thing with God. Like, if I start thinking that God never gets angry with me because He loves me so much and He can't get angry with me, and He loves me even when I'm messy, so I don't have to be cleaned up, like, how am I going to grow? He would not be a good father if He did not discipline us. And so children also need discipline. Just like yesterday, Kai, he was very frustrated and we were in the car and he just started like screaming all around. And at one point, he screamed at my aunt, my other cousin, the older cousin, my kuya. He corrected Kai and he told him straight up, like, you don't do that to mom. You don't scream at mom. We don't do that here. We don't scream here. And then Kai just started like crying again because he felt very rejected. And I realized that sometimes when God corrects us, we feel like He doesn't love us anymore, or we feel rebuked, or we feel like we're casted out because He like screams at us. Hello? Hello. Sometimes I get corrected and I'm just like a baby, like, Lord, what? You don't love me anymore? God has just been really healing me in the way that I see Him as a father, whether it's Him loving me or it's Him correcting me. Well, that can be the same thing, And my mentor talked to me about how I started seeing God as a strict teacher who just wants to correct me all the time, and like, you're just waiting for me to get it wrong so He can punish me harshly. But like I said earlier, the fear and the love has to go hand in hand. Like, we have to fear God and we also have to love Him. Like, we can't only like fear Him and be driven by fear. Okay, God, I'm gonna be this good girl because I don't want you to punish me. Like, no, He doesn't want that. He wants us to be driven by love. But at the same time, our love for Him is manifested in the way that we revere Him, in the way that we respect Him, in the way that we follow whatever He says. What's going on, Cheeks? What's bothering you? Here's your susus. Oh, come here. I'll get it. Oh, shoes. You want your shoes? Bike?
Yes.
Okay.
Come here,
Cheeks.
I work with you the night time.
Okay.
It's called.
Koa, can you please wait for me and Cheeks?
There you go.
Today is the last day that we get to do our little routine together. That's just us three. And it's a bit bittersweet for me, but I'm just so thankful we get to do it again. That it's just us three today, right?
Yes.
Yes. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Look at my style. Good morning, church. It's me again. Just ending our little Bible study vlog. Here, where are they? Oh Lord. So we started praying before we go to sleep. And last night, this little boy was praying for me, right? You were praying for me last night, right? His hands were over me and it was just the cutest thing ever. And he was struggling with the words to pray and he didn't know how to. But at some point he was like, Lord, I pray for Koa wisdom. And I laughed because I thought that he was praying for himself. And I'm like, I thought you were praying for me. Wisdom is something that I pray over them every single day. And I thought, like, hey, you're praying for me, right? But then I was thinking this morning that, yeah, I would love Koa wisdom. I pray God would give us the wisdom of the children. That is the point of this whole video, because childlikeness is something that we forget as we grow up. But there is a certain wisdom that only children have. What happened?
There's my foot.
This morning, Chicky, I need you to be quiet so they can hear me.
I mean, Chicky. Look, we got a heart.
Okay. This morning I was thinking, yeah, Lord, give me Koa wisdom. Like, yep, I'll take that. I pray that God would give us the wisdom of the children who knows how needy they are, who are humble enough to admit that they can't do it on their own, that they are not enough on their own, and that they need someone else over them. Not in a sense that we're being careless or wanting everything our way or not taking anything seriously. Oh, they found a bigger puddle. They're just the cutest thing. Ever since taking care of them, I'm so much easier on myself now because I think about how patient I can be with them, and I just start thinking, how much more long-suffering does God extend toward us? We're His children. But like I said, one of the things that I was very insecure about was me being so needy. This has just been so healing because God's making me realize that the very thing that we're so insecure about is the very thing that He uses for Him to be able to use us. If I'm a know-it-all, if I can just do it on my own, I wouldn't need God anymore. And so I'm learning to be okay with it. And I find the beauty in my helplessness. I find the beauty in the way that I just cry about everything before I try to do something about it. Because the most important thing right now is for God to have all of my attention instead of me knowing what to do, because He knows what to do and He sees me and He knows what I need. And so, hi, what's up? Are you cute? Yes? Yes, you are. Gotta learn humility, boy. Also, one of the words that God gave me when I was asking Him if He really wanted me to be here: whoever welcomes this little child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes Him who sent me. And y'all, how He came through with what He said that He was gonna do. It's just so amazing, because as I received them, in the sense that I said yes to taking care of them, I really believe that I received God in so many ways. I feel so much closer to Him now. Another word that He gave me was, He led me to the sending out of the 72, where it says there, He sent them by pairs into every city and into every town where He Himself was about to go. And that He Himself was about to go just jumped at me, and that was like God promising me that I am going to be there with you, and so you don't have to be afraid. Because I was so afraid that, oh Lord, I wouldn't have enough prayer time, I wouldn't have enough alone time to keep me sane. I'm not sure if I'm ready to be away from my mom for that long, etc., etc. I had so many fears and excuses on why He probably wouldn't want me to be here, but He said, I'm going to be there with you. And I'm just thinking now, like, why am I now surprised about how much He has taught me and how closer He has pulled me, when from the very beginning, before I even went here, He already promised me that He was going to be here with me. he's just such a good teacher that he allowed me to learn being childlike and growing up both at the same time. I learned to grow up because I learned like taking care of them, and he allowed me to live out my mom dreams. I got to figure out and find out what it might really take, and that it's not as simple and it's not always as fun as I make it out to be. Hi. Love you. I have a different perspective now on when I would actually want them. But yeah, God is just so amazing that when I asked to learn how to grow up, He allowed me to grow in grace. There were so many times that I started thinking of ways on how I can prove that I'm a grown-up or how I'm an adult already. But He just allowed me to learn growing up His way, and it's so graceful and it's very easy. His yoke is easy. So yeah, let's all become like children, shall we? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and if you would love to see more videos just like this. I'm being called inside. Subscribe to this channel. Okay, God bless you. Bye bye.